Welcome to the Creating Wealth Podcast, where Kyle Curtin takes you on an extraordinary journey alongside renowned multifamily real estate sponsors and syndication experts from every corner of the United States. We teach you how to harness the power of passive real estate investing and witness the transformation of your wealth building strategy. Let's create wealth together.
Hey guys, how we doing? This is going to be the first solo episode of the Creating Wealth Podcast. This is definitely something that I've wanted to do for a while, but in terms of bandwidth, and trying to delegate as much as I can to the couple folks in the Philippines that help me orchestrate the podcast, get everything out, create waterfall content for social media, that type of thing. It's kind of been a gradual process of refinement before desiring to tack on more, you know what I mean? So here we are. So I am pretty excited about this because essentially my aim when it comes to the solo shows is to just have probably shorter episodes. If I had to throw a number out there, I mean, probably between 15-ish minutes and 30, 35, 40, something like that. We'll kind of see how it goes as time goes on. We shall see. But yeah, essentially just things that I've experienced. I'm excited to talk about today's topic, by the way. You guys are going to love it. And things that I've experienced, stories, different ways that I can give value to you guys. Tell different stories and how to do certain things, how to build relationships, all within the self-development, multifamily real estate investing sector. And yeah, I'm excited to just kind of do this kind of thing, as well as be able to have these every other week, in addition to the normal shows that I've been doing for the past almost 3 years now. Or I think when this comes out, I think it will be 3 years. Yeah. So, woo! But yeah, so hopefully, I'll have an episode every single Monday. Like I mentioned, these are going to be every other Monday, as well as the podcast. The normal interviews are going to be every other Monday. So, it's going to swap from a solo show to a normal interview. And then as well as having the dividend episodes that I've rolled out in the past month or so, those are going to be sprinkled throughout that 2-week period as well. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of keep rolling out more, trying to give you guys more value, attract a lot more people into our ecosystem to be able to provide a lot more value to a lot more people, and just roll with it. So to kind of get into today's solo episode, that's going to be how to make thousands of B2B or business to business relationships from your couch. This is something that I've done over the past probably 4 or 5 years now, from getting into the real estate space, into the self-development, entrepreneurship, type of world. And it's something that I continue to do. It's something that I've automated to this point. So it kind of takes the stress off of my back in a sense. And I'll get to that shortly. But it's something that's been extremely effective in a lot of different avenues, guys. And I'll give a couple examples as well. So essentially, to kind of jump right into things, essentially what this is doing normal outreach through direct messages on social media, right? So I've used Facebook, continue to use Facebook, or Messenger rather. Instagram, I don't do it as much on Instagram anymore, but in a sense, I still kind of do. LinkedIn is an extremely good one, depending on how you're looking to use it. Biggerpockets as well is a very, very good one as well. If you're looking for other real estate investors, agents, lenders, and that type of thing specifically. And yeah, so essentially what this boils down to, guys, is kind of a 3-step process. So step 1 is going to be figure out who your target audience is. So if you're in the real estate investing world, right, and you're looking to just meet other local investors, figure out, what market that you want to be in. Say it's Lowell, Massachusetts, say it's Leominster, Massachusetts, say it's Central Manchester, New Hampshire, freaking Portland, Oregon. I think Portland's in Oregon, I believe. Never been there, anywhere close to there, but it's all good. Uh, but essentially figure out who you want to meet, guys. So for me, what I've used this for and what it's worked extremely well for is just meeting other real estate investors through, a lot of different niches, right? Like not necessarily like a specific target, just other like geographically focused real estate investors. So like Tewksbury to Lowell, Leominster, Central Mass, Worcester County, Middlesex County, Southern New Hampshire, New England as a whole, and that type of thing. And essentially like just a more geographic focus on finding like-minded people. And that's who I decided that I wanted to, start to network with and build a lot of good relationships with within the past 4 or 5 years. So essentially, once you figure out who you want to meet, go to your target platforms. So Facebook, like I said, super freaking good one. Instagram as well. Biggerpockets is a very, very strong one, but you have to be careful. And I'll explain why in a few minutes there. As well as LinkedIn is ridiculously powerful for really niching down and targeting who you want to meet. So essentially, say you're looking for real estate investors in Leominster, Massachusetts, right? So go to like LinkedIn and you go to the search filters. You want to type in, real estate investor. I believe it's called like your role or industry or position, whatever it is. Switch that to real estate investor. Go to location, set it to Leominster, Mass. And essentially, you just want to like connect with all of the people that fit your box that you're looking for. Same thing with Facebook and Instagram as well. Literally, like, just find the people that are in your area. You know what I mean? Like, friend them, like, start interacting with their content, that type of thing. It definitely helps if you, kind of have a brand or, post some things that are related to the business world, related to your industry. Like, you're putting a little bit of content out there and that type of thing. And essentially, like, once you start to find all those people, essentially the third step, or the second step rather, is creating your messaging. Because essentially what you're going to be doing is direct messaging the people on those platforms that fit that description. But keep in mind, before I tell you what I'm about to tell you, this is something that needs to be completely genuine, because it is kind of sort of like a formal lead generation, but it can't just be like a spam thing. Like, there can't be like a sales pitch. Like, you're not, like, you have to like really tailor it to be personal, because your main objective here is not necessarily to like make sales, to get clients right off the bat. Like, there's not like a direct I guess like conversion that you're looking for, right? And I mean, everybody can do it a little bit differently, like test out different messaging, things like that. I'm going to tell you what's worked extremely, extremely well for me. And it's not asking for like a direct, like basically not giving a sales pitch, right? So essentially what I did was I created a template that's in the notes on my phone. I currently have like a shit ton of them. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment. So essentially what I would do, or what I continue to do, is I'll in this template I'll say like, oh, hey, Mark, and then exclamation point, comma, whatever. Drop down a couple of lines, and then literally just like talk a little bit about you. And this is where I'm saying like this has to be completely genuine, because the right people are going to reach out to you. And if people are kind of like put off with like just another message, just another DM, we get a million of these freaking things every day, guys, of like, oh, like buy my course, or, sign up for our like Facebook group thing and put in your email and all this stuff and rah, 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 So you have to be able to separate yourself. So essentially, like in my messaging, I'll say like, "Oh, hey, Mark, drop down a couple lines. My name's Kyle Curtin. I'm a co-GP in multifamily syndications. I host a podcast called Creating Wealth. I'm from so and so town in Massachusetts. I have a 3-family in Leominster, Massachusetts. I just stumbled across your profile. I would love to connect. I see you're another investor in the area. I would love to hear your story." And that right there, guys, is the line that has always worked extremely well for me because it's a bajillion% genuine. Many of you guys that know me know I absolutely love hearing people's stories. It's always been my favorite friggin' thing in the entire world. To hear what other investors are doing, what stages they're at, what the next goals and vision are for their business. Just hear their story. Like what have you got going on? All of us have such incredible stories coming from different walks of life. And it's just a beautiful thing. So essentially, like the way that I'll leave off in these messages is like, "Oh, like I'd love to connect. I would love to hear your story." And then I will just say like, "Oh, thank you, Kyle," and like a smiley face or something like that. And that's something that I would do. Like, it started off like 5 times a day. When I started kind of getting into the syndication world, I upped it to 15 times a day just to like really like go freaking crazy with the networking. And when I mentioned that this is something that you can do from your couch, something you can do from your couch. Because this is the beauty of it, right? Is it's networking in a different fashion. And it's something that can be controlled. When is it a good time for you? Is it in the morning before breakfast? Is it like, while you're watching the TV? Um, is it, like after dinner, like before you go to bed, whatever. This is the thing is like you don't have to wait for like that event like 2 weeks from now, to network with people. We live in freaking 2023, guys. We live in a day and age where literally like you can be constantly um, sorry, I thought the recording just froze there. You can be constantly networking with people around the clock. You could be doing this at freaking 2 in the morning if you want to. I've definitely had some moments where I've done that in the past just because it's been convenient. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, and it's because that's literally all it is, guys. Is it's completely genuine reaching out to people, talking about like, a little bit about what you've got going on, how you found these people. Your goal here is to literally just like, just build relationships, build friends. And the beauty of this, right, is that after you have a conversation, um, you jump on a call the next day, whatever it is, you chop it up with them. One, you just started a pretty cool relationship with somebody that's in your market. Two, you'll add them as a friend, like interact with their content, like see how you can help each other out in different ways, share relationships, share value, share different books, share resources, share podcasts with these folks. Just figure out like ways to help each other, you know what I mean? And like you never know the relationships that will build from this. And the power of this, guys, right? Like without to kind of going down a little rabbit hole is like your network that you're building every single time that you do this, you are able to help out or share your network and all the people that you've connected with, all the resources, experiences, educational resources, content, like the whole freaking 9 yards. Everything that you're doing in this world, like you just expanded that to a whole nother group. And I want to say, I couldn't tell you where I heard it, but I'm sure many of you guys have heard it or different iterations of it as well, is that every single person that you meet is access to like 7 more people. There's some kind of like stat or something like that out there. I think it's drastically freaking more than that, but whatever. I'm not a statistician. But yeah, essentially like the amount of like the amount of access that is completely mutual, that you're able to help out other people with by providing them access to your network, your relationships. as well as on the opposite of that coin, the amount of power that you're able to leverage from other folks' networks, it's insane, guys. And the way that I look at it, right, is the more people that you know, the more people that you're able to help out, the more people that you're able to text when like, oh, I just found out my exhaust fan in the bathroom just vents above the ceiling. Like, I don't know, it doesn't actually go outside. And there's, a ton of stuff up there from years of moist air being trapped in a small space. Not that I would know or anything. If you know, you know. But essentially, like, how many people are you able to text when you have those situations out in the world, or like whether you have a deal going on, what's that thing that's got you stuck in your business, with outreach, with providing and building content. Like, the more people that you're able to be like, oh yeah, I know Mark, I'll shoot him a text. He'll probably be able to know, or um like that type of thing. The more people that you are able to uh leverage in a completely mutual and helpful sense, the more bulletproof that you're going to be when situations do arise, from situations in your business, your properties, your tenants, the whole 9 yards. Like, you're able to leverage so much, guys. There is so much value in strength and relationships, and this is a way for you to completely control how fast that you're able to build all of these relationships. And this is the beauty of it, right, guys? Is like, I haven't even touched on this part. Is, I mean, yeah, like, this is something that you can use for essentially any industry. Like, just, look up like car mechanics in like Central Mass, and connect with everybody, you know what I mean? And like, figure out how you can help each other in your business. But it's something that you can use for basically any type of business, right? Because you're essentially creating like your own mastermind, your own crazy spider web of a network. But if I can speak about this because, it's the industry that I've been in for 4 or 5 years now, and what I've directly used it for, directly, is our industry when it comes to the real estate world, the real estate investing space in particular, syndication world in particular. It's such a such a like mutual like team centric, like group type of world, that you never know who you're going to partner with on the next deal. You never know where that next deal is going to come from. You never know where the capital is going to come from. You never know who has like, 50 or 100,000 that like they're looking to park, in a passive vehicle. Like you never know who the people are that you're going to be meeting, right? And the more people that like I mentioned earlier, like the more bulletproof that you're going to be when situations and issues do arise. But also on the complete flip side of that, the more opportunity that's going to be able to open up, And like that's the thing, guys, is it literally genuinely starts from just genuinely, and I can't stress that word enough. I'm sorry if it's getting annoying. um, is by genuinely reaching out to people and just telling them like what you're about. Basically, it's the same thing as going to a meetup, right? Except the meetup is 24 hours around the clock, and you get to control how many people that you talk to. And you already know like um what sector of the industry these folks are in, what types of things that they invest in. Like, privacy is not a thing anymore, guys. Like, go on Instagram, like look at people's profiles, like who the players are in your market, who you want to try to meet, and like like you can almost like kind of tell, you know what I mean? And the beauty of it is that, like I said, in our industry, 99.99999% of people want to just genuinely help each other, because you never know where your next partner, where your next source of capital, where your next deal, where your next agent, lender, attorney, contractor, the list goes on. You never know where that's going to come from. And just being able to essentially put yourself in control of how fast that you accelerate that process, um, it's something that's incredibly beautiful. And it's something that does kind of lead me into the third step here, is to make that a habit of doing it every day. Like once you make your template message, I will stress too, is that like just try to personalize it as much as possible. So like I'll always change out like the first name because like I want it to just be personal because that's 110% what it is. Like it's not just like a spam, like spam it here and like, hope that things go well. Um, like you don't want it, you want it to literally just come off like super real. You know what I mean? Because it is. Like I said, there's no sales pitch, there's no nothing. You know what I mean? Unless like you guys have that phone call, like it's completely organic and like, one thing leads to another. And all of a sudden, oh, hey, like you just got a new buyer for your agency business, or, you have somebody that might want to, explore being a passive partner, a passive debt partner with you guys. You never know. And things like that do happen once in a while. Ask me how I know. um, kind of those what's it called? Those black swan events, kind of like once in a great while, it's like crazy things happen. Just talk to as many people as possible, and especially using this method, guys. But the power of this really comes from is making it a habit to send out, 5 messages, 10 messages, 15 messages every single day. Pick through your platform. Facebook's a very freaking strong one. And I will tell you that one thing that I have noticed with Facebook is it ages like a fine freaking wine when you do this. And the reason that I say that is when you're first starting, you won't have a ton of mutual friends with the folks that you're messaging um, in this arena yet. So it's going to start off slower, because the thing is like when you send a message like this, it's like I said, it's going to be as personalized as possible. People are still going to look into you and like look at your profile, see what you're about, like see if you're actually like a real person, see if you do have any mutual friends in common. And then, they'll make the decision there of like if they're going to respond to you. Because unfortunately, like there's a lot of scam artists out there. There's a lot of people that are just trying to rip you off, make a quick buck, and move on to the next guy. And it's screwed up, right? But the thing is the more that you do this, especially if you keep it a lot more niche to who who you're targeting, is you're gonna start to have a lot more mutual friends with the people that you reach out to. So, like I said, for me, like, investors in Massachusetts or Central Ma, after you've done this a shit ton, for lack of a better word, you're a good amount of the time, you're going to have like 5, 10, 50, 100 mutual friends with the people that you reach out to. And it turns out to be completely real, like not like you just went down a list and like added a whole bunch of people and that was it, but like people are going to be able to tell, especially more as time goes on. Like, and these are completely legitimate, mutual friends with these folks that, hey, like you're somebody who's in that market as well. A lot of the freaking same people. And like, like, oh, like, he knows Tom Caffarella, he knows, John Babacci, like Brian Orton's, like, like it's, as time goes on, the amount of responses that you will get to your message will go up significantly, right? Because like people are going to look into you, people are going to see that you're completely legit, you're in the target market, you have a ton of friends in common, like you're posting, content, whatever, like in the real estate world or whatever it is. It's going to get 10 times better as time goes on. And it's a really beautiful thing. Another thing that I will share as well is what I currently do right now, which is a different flavor, right? So one thing I will stress is I started doing this on Biggerpockets because you can look specifically for investors in Leominster, Massachusetts, and go down the list and message everybody and everything. One thing that I will tell you guys is be careful when doing it with Biggerpockets because it comes off like spam, even after personalizing it, saying like, hey Mary, hey John, hey Chris, hey Brian, hey whatever. it still kind of comes off as spam. And it's because like after you like copy and paste this message and then personalize it, it still comes off like that. The spam filters go crazy. I've gotten banned on Biggerpockets like 2 or 3 times. And just told them like, hey, like I'm just genuinely trying to meet other people in my market. Like I'm not trying to sell anything, like literally nothing. Like I'm just trying to make friends here. Because that's essentially what it is, guys, right? Is like you're literally just reaching out to people to make friends. That's what it freaking boils down to. You know what I mean? And but Biggerpockets is very sensitive. And I know like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, those are sensitive as well. To be honest with you, I don't have specific numbers and data on, oh, you can send out 53 messages on Instagram today, and if you send 54, like your account's going to get shut down for 24 hours, I would just say like be careful, because it might come off like spam, even though it's really not. It's basically just building friends at scale. That's the way that I kind of look at it. The other part of that as well is you want to make sure that you can control your responses in a timely manner. And what I mean when I say that is like if you reach out to 10 people, say like, yeah, maybe like 3 or 4 of them respond to you and are totally down to jump on a call. Like your messages your messages are going to fill up quick with like doing this every single day. Because think about it. I mean, if you're sending messages to 10 people every day, 10 times 7 days a week, if you're doing it 7 days a week, I recommend doing that, but everybody's different. So that's 70 messages that go out. Say 3 people respond to you per day. 3 times 7, that's 21 people that want to hop on the phone with you. Now all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, like how am I going to manage my inbox and like set up all these calls and put it on the calendar and like not forget and like, still trying to, it essentially turns into crowd control. Right? And it's crowd control in a good way, and it's kind of a good problem to have, right? But what I'm telling you is like figure out like your rate, right? So if it's 10 people a day, in that, say like, setting up like 21 calls for like the next, few like week or so, like across the next week or whatever it might be, say that that's realistic for you. That's easy to manage. Like you check your messages every morning, just bang them out. Like everything's all cleaned out. Perfect. Right. But if that starts to be a bit too much, drop it down, drop it down to like 5 people, like only have like a couple conversations a week. You know what I mean? And, especially like, most people have a W-2 job, or time block, certain activities and that type of thing, have a spouse, have kids, go to the gym, like whatever the case may be. And yeah, like you just have to make it work for your schedule, right? It's like I said, it's basically just keeping it relatable, keeping it real, keeping it genuine, and just figure out what works for you, and what I do. And this is awesome for you Massachusetts folks. And some of you guys might be laughing, if you're listening to this in your car on the way to work or something, because this might have been how your and I relationship started. There is a pretty good chance of that. Is what I've done for the past couple years as well. Is like I said, I started with Biggerpockets. I don't do Biggerpockets anymore because I've gotten banned twice and 2 or 3 times. And I'm not looking to like, kind of, sorry about that. I just got a phone call. It messed up my thing. It scrolled away there. But essentially on Biggerpockets, I've gotten banned 2 or 3 times. I'm not looking to, continue to push the limit and actually get banned permanently, because that would be catastrophic. So I don't do it on BP anymore, but I was doing like 5 people a day. I would be careful even with that on there, guys, just because the filters are so freaking sensitive. Like you don't want to like try to do something great and like just make friends and end up paying a price for it that you really don't want, because BP is a phenomenal freaking platform. I've met a shit ton of like really, really cool people, really close relationships from there over the past few years. And yeah, you don't want to risk that. My big one, especially today, has been through Facebook groups. So many of you guys know, so on Facebook, especially in Massachusetts, there's a ton of Massachusetts real estate investor Facebook groups. So there's one big one. It's the Massachusetts Real Estate Investor Group. I want to say there's thousands of people in it. There's probably like 6 or 7 or something like that. There's like central mass off markets. There's a ton of groups, guys, for like literally for your niche. And like I said, I'm just describing it for what I've specifically used this for and what I do now. But this is something like if you were into like crocheting or like underwater basket weaving, as Brandon Turner mentions, there's probably a Facebook group for it. Join the group. And then one thing that I like to do in your messaging is set up your message, like I said, the same way that you would before, but write down in that message the particular Facebook group that you found, this person in. And essentially like, like my name's Kyle Curtin. I'm a co-GP in multifamily syndication, specialize in investor relations. I do a real estate podcast, for the past 3 years, agent and mass, like whatever, I came across your name in the Creating Wealth Together Facebook group. I saw we were in the same group. I'm a local investor in Leominster and, Lowell, whatever. I'd love to connect. I'd love to hear your story and, let me know, some days and times that we can jump on a call. Thank you, Kyle. It adds another layer of realness. You know what I mean? Because it's legit. Like, oh, hey, like, I saw you comment on, like Kyle's post in the group or whatever. Like, I'd love to connect, and it adds another layer of depth into that relationship. Right. So but yeah, like I said, guys, this is something this is how I've built my network. And I'm not boasting by any means when I say this. I'm just being real with you guys. I've built like probably thousands of relationships over the past 4 or 5 years this way, throughout all the different platforms. And the power of building a lot of relationships and the power of your community is like, oh my God, guys, I didn't even think about this until now. I'm glad I just thought about it. The people like doing something like this, it doesn't just help you build relationships, right? It doesn't just help the other person that you guys are connecting with. It helps people that you haven't even friggin' met yet in your travels and other people that are outside of the real estate industry. The reason that I say that, right, is the bigger that you grow your network, the people that you haven't even freaking met yet. Like, say that there's an investor that you're going to meet at a meetup 6 months from now, right? That guy is going to ask you, like, you guys hit it off or whatever. That guy has like a 3-family in like Nashua, right? Now, all of a sudden he texts you one day, like a month later, he has something that happens with, like one of his tenants, like a toilet, like gasket leaks or something, or, like he's looking for like a particular like lease, like a tenant at will agreement, like just a blank copy, or, like what you would do about potentially evicting a tenant. Like, how do you go about the process? Like, who do I need to talk to? He comes to you for advice. Now, you might not specifically know that information, right? But because you've been building your network for a long time, you know who does. So now you reach out to, your buddy, Phil, who, say, just went through an eviction with an attorney, or, like just went through an eviction, did the whole thing with like used a constable, used an attorney, like went to court, like tried, what's the word there? Mediation, like tried the whole freaking 9 yards, right? And you just happen to hear about that, from Facebook, from talking to the guy, whatever. You can then either directly connect Phil and your other buddy with the 3-family in Nashua. You look like a rock star because you had the freaking connection instantly to be able to give value to that person. As well as on the other side, your buddy Phil is like, oh shit, like, like Kyle thought of me, like for going through something like this. It's basically just a value freaking bonanza, right? Because he went through that. He knows, maybe he's like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? But like, you get the power, you get a lot of gratification yourself. And you do get credibility from being a connector. And being a connector is one of the most fun freaking things in the entire world. At least I love it, right? And so you can either connect Phil and your other buddy that's going through that. Both of them get value. You get value. You get gratification from just helping people out, connecting people, that type of thing. But also, like, say, like you just got a point of contact from Phil for like, a particular attorney up there, that deals with that type of thing or whatever it is, contractor referral, whatever it is, right? You can then just give that guy's number to your buddy there that, was having something that was going on and say like, oh, like I say that like, it's from Josh or whoever it was. And now they have a point of contact instantly to at least give a shot to try to help them. And if it does, perfect. Like you just solved a freaking problem for them instantly. If all the stars align and say that's the attorney or the contractor that they end up using, great. Like everybody just got value across the whole entire freaking plane. And like that's crazy, right? Like everybody wins, and if not, say at least, they just got a good direction. Now you can continue going to other parts of your network and asking to try to help those people out. Now you just keep feeding people that might be able to try to help them. Hopefully eventually one of them clicks. If not, the other person knows that, hey, like, you just tried to help them out like big time. Like you may or may not be able to actually, but you just put it out there and like just tried to give them value. You know what I mean? And like the power of giving value, like you just strengthen your relationship with that person, regardless of if the stars actually align from the contractors or attorneys or whatever the case may be that you got from your network and you gave to them. But it doesn't matter because everybody gets value from these situations, guys. And it all starts like basically frame the like it will accelerate your success, the doors and opportunities that open for you, the amount of value that you are able to give to other people that you do know, as well as people that you have no freaking idea, that or like you don't know anybody. You don't know, those particular people yet. You're just able to give value to everybody. And by giving value, the universe has its way of like springing certain things around you, to essentially give back to you. You know what I mean? And like I said before, guys, this has to be completely genuine. Like, do not expect anything in return. Just completely freaking real. Just be a good person, give a lot of value, seek to build relationships, build friends. You never know what things can turn into. And an example that I will give you is on the agency side. I did a deal last I think it was like May. Yeah, I think so. Last like May-ish. And I had a buyer client that I hit it off extremely well with, which mind you, I met at one of our company, Candor, one of their meetups. We hit it off, we went out for lunch, like he, became my client, him and his girlfriend. And, some time went by looking at houses, like that type of thing, and getting beat out on offers. I know it's currently August 20th. We're definitely still in that really crazy freaking environment, competitive environment. But basically, like, time went on. All of a sudden, I get a text from an agent that is, definitely got some stuff going on in Lowell, got some buildings, got a little management company, doing a development project. He does a lot around that type of area, right? And I sent my message to him back in February. We jumped on a call and, had a good conversation, like that type of thing. I talked to him on my lunch at work. And essentially, we hadn't talked since then. All of a sudden, he randomly texted me an off-market 2 family in Lowell and an off-market 4 family in Lowell. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, that 4 family, I'm like, my buyer might actually be interested in. So I sent it to him. He liked it. He ran the numbers. Numbers looked okay. So I ended up texting the agent back. We went out to see it. Figured out the numbers, wrote up an offer ASAP. We went back and forth a couple times, a couple things there, but basically we ended up getting it under contract. We ended up closing on that property. And I mean, there was definitely, there's definitely more to the story, like, in terms of relationships and that type of thing. But funny enough, also, I actually knew the seller as well. And I'm pretty sure that relationship started from doing this probably like 3-ish years ago, which is freaking hilarious. But that's the power of building relationships, guys. And it can all start in the freaking DM. So I ended up, doing a deal from that. My clients got a pretty solid 4-family, literally like one of the best freaking, like, most well-kept buildings I've ever like seen, like, ever, which is crazy. Credit to the sellers. You guys know who you are if you're listening to this. But yeah, it just, like, it was wild, guys. Like, this is the type of thing that, like, all of a sudden, like, things just happen, but my final thought, because it's already been almost 42 minutes. This is crazy. Like, this is going to be a cool first episode. But my final piece of value for you guys: talk to as many people as possible, make it completely genuine. Don't do any sort of sales pitch. Just go out and make friends and leverage technology, leverage social media, go out and meet people, do some crazy stuff, change your life, change your family tree's life, become financially free, sail in Barbados, or, whatever your thing is, like, eat Chinese food every day, like in China or something. I don't know. Well, whatever suits your fancy, I guess. But all right, guys, that's all I got for today. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Definitely, please leave a rating and a review for the podcast. I don't ask that often, but it definitely means a lot. If you could, I'm just trying to, like, spread these type of messages and that type of thing out into the world, and show people how using real estate investing and passive investing and, building relationships and creating content, building a brand can change your life, and so you don't have to live controlled by the almighty dollar like most people do, unfortunately. But yeah. I hope you guys have a fantastic day today. I'm very curious how this one's going to do. I'm excited to keep doing solo episodes. I have a shit ton of topics written out. If you guys have ideas for topics, shoot me a message on Facebook, Instagram, shoot me an email, kyle@creatingwealth.com. Yeah. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye.
That's a wrap for today's episode. We want to thank you for being a valued listener of the Creating Wealth Podcast. Make sure to visit www.creatingwealth.com to connect with us. Dive into our ever-expanding library of informative blogs. Get access to our private investor portal and explore a wide range of additional valuable resources. Stay tuned for our next episode as we continue to create wealth together.